done it. So I have to lean more on the side of what your man is saying, because if your man is saying that he can't do stadiums, I have to lean more on that because he's been in the game for so long and he hasn't done it. So we have to agree with him. You know what I'm saying? It can't be, oh, well, he tried it and it didn't work. He never even tried. To talk after hours, you know what it is. So I seen this clip, Joe Buttons and his crew is talking about Drake versus The Weeknd, and I want to get my take on it. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. All right, here we go.
Not touring, not sales, listens from top to bottom all over the world. That's what I need to see from them two. Because you're right, Weeknd probably wins every metric battle now. However, I think Drake wins the visibility battle with Weeknd because of how he's been marketing himself and promoting himself. And I think...
Yo, I swear to you, man, it's one thing that I notice about people when it comes to Drake. They just want to give him a win in any type of way they could. You know what I'm saying? You saying that you believe that Drake wins the visibility battle when all he been doing was clownish stuff for the last year? How does he win the visibility battle? How? How does he win the visibility battle? I don't understand it. What you see a person who does something really well, and you're saying that you believe that what Drake has been doing for the last year has been something of, you can say he won anything. He hasn't been doing no clownish stuff. And is that, when you mean visibility, do you mean by visibility like that? Or you saying like, because you can't go off of popularity because Weeknd is bigger than Drake. So you can't do that. It's not even close at this point. So you can't do that. So what do you mean by visibility? Maybe he'll explain. I don't understand.
I think that's overall, I think more people have listened to Drake records just because there's probably more of them and how big that they were.
I agree with that.
And I just think
just in quantity alone.
Overall popularity and all that shit, impact might be on.
And it's not fair to ask that now to me because one, the label is full touring, not sales, listens from top to bottom all over the world. That's what I need to see from them two. Because you're right, Weeknd probably wins every metric battle now. However, I think Drake wins the visibility battle with Weeknd because of how he's been marketing himself and promoting himself. And I think that overall, I think more people have listened to Drake records just because there's probably more of them and how big that they were.
That's not true. The Weeknd is the most streamed artist of all time. He has, I believe, 8 or 9 2 billion stream records. Drake only has 3 or 4. He has 9. So for you to say, oh, Drake has more listens overall, the man has 9 songs or 8 songs, 8 or 9, I'm not sure, that holds over 2 billion streams. That's much more than Drake. On top of that, okay, we'll keep going. Let's see what else he says. Because for me, some of this stuff, I think that they're trying to wiggle their way around when it comes to Drake. I mean, to me, this is a dead argument. And this is the argument that I come across all the time. Who's better, The Weeknd or Drake? And then people always they try to run to Drake's sales as if The Weeknd doesn't lap him on that too. And it's kind of weird to me that they would do that. But they don't never go to song quality. It's always just the how many sales Drake has. It's like, oh, how many more people heard of Drake? That's what they always run to that argument.
I agree with that. And I just think
just in quantity alone.
Overall popularity and all that shit, impact might be on.
And it's not fair to ask that now to me because one, the label is full steam ahead. And the other one, not so much.
But the label's always been full steam ahead on Weeknd. Like, I'm talking about since you go back, forget this project and even the last 2-3 projects. You go all the way back to the Beauty Before the Madness, Starboy, that era.
I'm talking about for Drake.
But while the labels were big on Drake and Weeknd at the same time, Weeknd's numbers were still all the way up there at the top.
When the label was buying both of them at the same time, I think Drake is way bigger.
I think just because.
You bugging the fuck out, nigga. Bro, you bugging. You're bugging. You're bugging. We could go song for song and Drake loses. We can go song for song, Drake loses. We can do that. You're bugging. Back then, if you saying Drake was way bigger, obviously Drake was bigger than The Weeknd because Drake was established first. His first album, Thank Me Later, he was already out. Weeknd came, I believe, during his second album. So his second album, we gonna get into that too, because that's very important. But if you saying in terms of that, okay, yeah, back then, yes. But we gonna get into the longevity of the two and why The Weeknd is bigger than Drake. But let's keep it going.
The quantity of music.
That's 2016 and before to me.
I only think that's because of quantity of music. Weeknd's quantity, his output doesn't match Drake's. So
I think, and where they were in the ladder, right? Like I think, like Drake, I think it's safe to say is on the backside of his career.
Yes.
I'm not ready to say that about The Weeknd.
Yeah, and to your point, the quantity.
Man, get the fuck out of here. The Weeknd has been out maybe 2 years later than Drake. Matter of fact, he was out, but he just wasn't out, right? He hasn't put out as many albums as Drake, right? But for you to say you think that Drake is on the back end of his career, I believe The Weeknd is 35, Drake is 37, right? You're telling me within 2 years, those 2 years, you're saying that 2 to 3 years, Drake is on the back end of his career, or for 2 years? No. Drake dropped music every year, and most of the music he dropped every year wasn't that good. So for you to say that, I could see if you said that in the terms of he was making good projects and then all of a sudden his last project wasn't that good. Drake's last 7 projects was trash. Like not even that good. One was okay, that was Scorpion. Outside of that, come on, bro. What are we doing here? What are we doing?
The music that they putting out that plays a part.
I think it's safe to say is on the backside of his career.
Yes.
I'm not ready to say that about The Weeknd.
Yeah, and to your point, the quantity of music that they putting out, that plays a part. Yeah. So if I'm putting out an album every single year and you putting out an album every 3 years, I'm going to be hotter than you because I keep being relevant in everybody's brain with new shit. I got more hits.
That's not true. What is this, bro? What is this? What type of logic are y'all making up? So, okay, so within that terms, we could use any artist, right? So let's use Kendrick versus Drake, right? Kendrick albums are better than Drake. Kendrick is still relevant somehow because relevancy you don't have to drop an album every year to be relevant. You don't. Kendrick proved that. The Weeknd proved that. It goes off of his songs. If, let's say, Beauty Behind the Madness, right? The Weeknd, no, in fact, let's go to the trilogy. Their songs are still being played from the trilogy. That was years ago. Beauty Behind the Madness. Their songs are still being played. The music that you put out keeps you relevant. Has nothing to do with you putting out an album every year. Because you put out an album every year doesn't mean nothing. So there's artists out here that put out an album every year and nobody knows who they are. Or there's artists out here put out an album every year and nobody cares. Like, for you to say that about Drake is because you were a fan of Drake and you saying he drops something every year. Drake drops something to keep you satisfied, but he don't drop something that's mind-blowing. He don't drop something that keeps people like, oh man, this is great. He don't do that. That's all I'm saying.
Than you, I got more relevancy than you.
I don't know about the relevant part. You might be hotter in terms of more hits, but if
hotter is relevant.
If I'm putting out that, take it like people say about Kendrick dropping an album every so often years, but if I'm putting out an album that's damn near classic or classic level every 4 or 5 years, and it's keeping me in that conversation even when I don't drop.
If you putting out an album every 5 years, that's a smoker, fire, a 10, and I'm putting out a 9 every single year, I'm going to be hotter than you because I'm more relevant than you are.
But that's in the terms of who putting out the 9s. And Drake ain't been putting out no 9s. Come on, bro. Y'all can't be serious. This is some crazy shit. Drake hasn't been putting out no 9s, bro. you're basically saying that you using a term that doesn't apply to Drake. Drake hasn't been putting out no 9s. What album he put out that was a 9 outside of Nothing Was the Same? Which one? Don't tell me the dance album. Don't tell me even Scorpion wasn't a 9. None of these albums were a 9. Her Loss wasn't a 9. I'll give that a 7.5 or 7, a strong 7 at least. You know what I'm saying? What album did Drake put out that's a 9? A Certified Lover Boy? No. You know what I'm saying? Views? No. Like, what are we talking about here? It's like you're saying, oh, if I've been putting out a 9 every year, that's in the terms of who's putting out 9s, and it wasn't Drake. Like, come on, bro. Somebody got to say something.
That's fire, a 10, and I'm putting out a 9 every single year. I'm gonna be hotter than you because I'm more relevant than you are.
That 9 is subjective.
You get what I'm saying? Like, hotness don't speak to better. It just speaks to more relevant, more popular, all of those things.
Man, I don't know where you going with that. That's stupid. That's hotness don't speaks to better. It speaks to more relevant. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Because somebody drops a project every year, you're telling me because he keeps you satisfied, that makes him better than another artist? No. And we're speaking in the terms of quantity over quality. Like, let's be clear here. There's in any world, Drake doesn't have better music than The Weeknd. Like, come on, bro. Like, what are we talking about here? Like, what are we talking about here? like what are we arguing here? Like, this is crazy.
And I just think that Drake got a few albums that's probably better than whatever Weeknd's best album is.
You're bugging the fuck out. Get the fuck out of here. You're bugging, Joe. Joe, you're bugging. Joe, you're bugging. We could go through the albums. We can go through the albums. You're bugging. Okay, so let's go through the albums. Drake's first album, Thank Me Later, it's not better than the trilogy. Drake's second album, what's the second album? Take Care. 6 of the songs was wrote by The Weeknd. And Beauty Behind the Madness would be, do you think that Take Care is better than Beauty Behind the Madness? I must say no, because 6 of the songs were wrote by The Weeknd. So I'm gonna go with The Weeknd. I believe his next album was Drake's next album was Nothing Was the Same. Nothing Was the Same. My Dear Melancholy, I believe that was the next album. Okay, we could say that that's better, but that's unfair because that was only 6 songs, so that was an EP, right? But we go to the next album, Starboy. Starboy, Nothing Was the Same. Okay, we could go with Nothing Was the Same on that. I'll give you that one, right? Nothing Was the Same, right? Then you go to If You're Reading This Is Too Late, right? Reading This Is Too Late. The next album would be After Hours. You're crazy. After Hours is better than Drake's whole catalog. 100%. And then after that, we got Dawn FM and whatever else album, I believe it was Views or whatever album Drake put out after that. All the albums he put after that ain't coming close to anything Weeknd has dropped after that. You're bugging out. You're bugging.
And that's why I think it's different now, because Weeknd has went full pop. He don't like that Beauty Behind the Madness, Starboy, that wasn't for hip hop culture. And there's a third one in there, I forget. But that wasn't for hip hop culture.
Bro, what are you talking about? What is these do these dudes even listen to music? What are y'all talking about? The Weeknd has always, his whole career, he has always dibbled and dabbled in every genre. I don't know what y'all talking about. If we going off of, let's say the trilogy, right? The trilogy, he dibbled and dabbled in all genres, right? If we going off Beauty Behind the Madness, he has some songs on there that you can go into pop. He has some songs in there that you can go into hip hop. Go tell your friends about it. The Hills, yeah, and those was hits. He had songs like that, right? I Can't Feel My Face, Earned It was what we would call R&B, right? I Can't Feel My Face would be pop, right? He's always been doing that. I don't know I don't know. Some of y'all be podcasters and y'all claim that y'all listen to music and y'all music. I don't like to say music historians, but y'all be giving these takes sometimes. I think it'd be so extreme, but y'all don't actually go into the project. And Joe Budden's podcast does this a lot. Y'all do this a lot. Y'all go so far to the extreme and don't actually say, well, maybe hold up, let's just pick this apart. Y'all don't do that. You know what I'm saying? Y'all sometimes I feel like Joe Budden podcast be so surface level at times. You know what I'm saying? Let's keep it going.
Drake, even when he went pop, he still stayed hip-hop-ish in there. Weeknd's left this alone. I mean, shit, his intro was dark R&B, even though it was...
Come on, bro. You can't be serious. Your argument is, right, if you listen to Drake, right, you saying that he stayed somewhat in the hip-hop realm. If you listen, bro, he had a whole dance hall album, bro. Right, where he basically... That wasn't hip hop. A lot of stuff he did was not hip hop. Like a good portion of his songs ain't hip hop. A good portion of his songs are R&B songs or / R&B. If you want to say R&B is hip hop, okay, yeah, we could say that. But a good portion of his songs are not hip hop. They're not rap songs. And on top of that, he does a lot of songs that you could say is pop. Like, come on, bro. His biggest records are pop records. Hotline Bling is a pop record. One Dance is definitely not a hip-hop song. Like, come on, bro. Maybe God's Plan. That's about it. But for you to say that he went pop, bro, Drake is a pop artist, bro. Let's be clear here. Drake is a pop artist. He's a pop artist. I would say that The Weeknd is more hip-hop than Drake. I just think that The Weeknd does pop songs, but I would say that most of his music is more relatable to hip hop artists than Drake's music is. That's just my opinion. Like, I don't know.
Classified as R&B, but once he left, he went pop radio, pop star, completely over there, and never looked at us again, really. Until it came time.
Bro, what are you talking about? This is what I mean. Like, a lot of these dudes don't know what the hell they're talking about, bro. He never looked at, okay, so After Hours. Let's go through After Hours, right? Heartless, what else? A bunch of songs on there. It wasn't just pop songs. What are we talking about? Right? What are we talking about? Then we go to what's the name? We go to Dawn FM. A lot of the songs on there wasn't pop songs, bro. What are you talking about? You know what I'm saying? But for you to sit here and say, which is wild to me, that you would say he went full pop and didn't look at us, bro. Oh my God, bro. This is the type of stuff that kind of I look at and I say to myself, this is why people call people Drake Glazers, right here. This is why, because they say stuff like that, like as if Drake never did that. Like, come on, bro.
Get a little feature from here or something like that. He's now working his way back, but Weeknd was gone. And I think that's what took him to that next level, why he's out here doing your stadium tours and shit like that. It's almost like it's a ceiling over here.
You think Drake hit it?
Yes.
Knock on my head, this speech.
I don't think.
That's 100% facts right there, though. Drake has definitely, for you to say that you believe that Drake is bigger than The Weeknd, but The Weeknd does stadium tours, that's absolutely nuts. That's nuts. For you to say that you believe that Drake has more listeners than The Weeknd, when The Weeknd has more listeners to him on Spotify, The Weeknd has more streamed songs than him. The Weeknd has the most streamed song ever. For you to say that, it's nuts. How do you come to that conclusion? Again, a lot of this comes down to people's opinion and how they feel. Even when your opinion, if this is how you feel, that doesn't necessarily make it right, if that's just your opinion. And when it comes to music, when you start talking numbers, it can't be about your opinion. It has to be about facts. And the fact is, like, The Weeknd metrically is bigger than Drake. I know it might hurt y'all feelings. I know y'all might not want to hear that. I know Joe and them might don't want to hear that, but it's the truth. It is what it is. Like, and I just don't understand why Joe and them just don't be honest about it. Like, they always gotta try to find a win for Drake somehow. well, the Weeknd, he might have more music or better, metrically, but for me, he don't have nothing better than it. Like, what? What are we talking about? What are we talking about? Like, I just don't understand it. To be honest with you, the Weeknd is what Drake want to be. Like, we know this. Everybody knows this. I don't know why y'all not just admitting that. The Weeknd is what Drake wants to be. Like, let's be clear here.
Drake ever hit the ceiling?
I think he did.
Like, I think if Drake wanted to go, what's the ceiling?
Views.
This is what I'm talking about, bro. Whenever it comes to Drake, they always move the goalposts. It's so crazy to me, right? So let me get this right. So he says that, Joe says that Drake is on the back end of his career, right? And the Weeknd is not on the back end of his career, right? Which is insinuating that the Weeknd is gonna be bigger than Drake, even if he doesn't believe that. He's believing that Weeknd is gonna surpass Drake. That's what he's saying by him saying that in so many words, right? But then his boy turns around and says, he says, well, Drake hit the ceiling, and he says, well, what's the ceiling? Like, you know what the ceiling is. Drake hit it already. He hit it back, and he hit it back after. If you're reading this, it's too late. It's over, bro. He hit the ceiling then. I mean, obviously he's still streaming from some of his stuff, but he hit the ceiling, bro. He hasn't done nothing that's magnificent since nothing was the same. Let's be honest here, bro. Like, come on.
I say that all the time. That was the peak for me.
I'm just saying, so what can't he do?
Stadiums.
I disagree, but
That's speculative.
He can't, because he never did. Bro, this is crazy. It's speculative. Joe Button. Drake has been out for over 15 years and he never did a stadium. So what are you saying? How is it speculative? He's been out for years and he's never did a stadium, dog. What are you talking about? At what point do we say he can't do it? At what point do we say this? Because at this point, you're trying to make it seem like he could do whatever he want. He can't do whatever he want. A lot of y'all be so delusional when it comes to Drake that y'all even escape reality. Y'all remove reality. Bro, the man never did a stadium. If your man says that, what can he do? And he says stadiums, and you say that's subjective. That's crazy because he's never did it, Joe. That's what we're saying. If he does a stadium tomorrow, right? Obviously, he could do a stadium tomorrow. But would it sell out? We don't know. He may be scared to do stadiums. We don't know. Maybe he's not comfortable with doing it. We don't know. But what we do know is he hasn't done it. So I have to lean more on the side of what your man is saying, because if your man is saying that he can't do stadiums, I have to lean more on that because he's been in the game for so long and he hasn't done it. So we have to agree with him. You know what I'm saying? It can't be, oh, well, he tried it and it didn't work. He never even tried. So I'm just saying, I'm leaning more on the side of this guy. And we don't know if he tried. According to people, to Maul, he turned down the Super Bowl. So
yeah, you stand in. I disagree. I disagree.
For as big as a moneymaker as he is, I think they would put that man in stadiums.
See, I don't think that's a definite the way you keep saying it.
Yeah, I don't look at it like
a stadium is a different show that I don't know that he feel like doing. It's
cost
different
more.
fees that I don't know that he
Bro, he
feel
just
like
told
paying.
it in the text about that he doesn't feel like doing all this show shit here. That he's running that the leak text with old girl.
Yeah, so imagine with that with a stadium.
So what I'm saying is it ain't really up to you like that. If I gave you 400 M's and I want my money, I got you in this type of a contract. No, nigga, we gonna put you in the biggest shit possible.
That's not how he said that to that girl. And that's not how he said it to the girl. He said it to the girl like, yo, I'm trying to fulfill my obligations to these niggas so I can get the fuck away from them.
If I'm the record label and you're the biggest actor in the world, you don't think I want to put.
yeah, I don't know about how you would say something in the text. I mean, if he interpreted it that way, okay, cool. But I don't know. I'm just saying he got a point. He got a point. Obviously, if Drake could do stadiums, I'm thinking that he probably would have done it already. You know what I'm saying? He's all about the money. He's all about the fans. He loves the fans. That's what he's saying he does. So I think, in my opinion, he would have did it by now if he could.
Who says that Live Nation or whatever the touring company is would want to get him out that deal as fast as could be?
No, I'm not saying they want to. He wants to. No, not them.
But that don't got nothing to do with the stadium
When
tours.
I said, if I am Live Nation and you are the biggest act in the world, let's say, you're not touring arenas.
Yeah, I don't think that's true.
All the biggest acts are not touring arenas. They don't do them no more because their star power won't allow them to do it.
What is Beyonce doing?
Arenas. Stadiums. It has been for the last 7 years. Beyonce ain't did an arena tour in God knows how long. This tour that she just announced is all stadiums. That is a fact.
What's the Renaissance shit?
Stadiums. MetLife is a stadium. If you're performing at MetLife, it's not. You're not. Beyonce not doing Barclay.
She did MetLife when she
or Prudential.
All right, so there's, like I said, there's only really 3 artists that's in the realm of what we're talking about. 3 or 4, and we're gonna just stick with The Weeknd, Taylor Swift, Beyonce. They're the only ones that's really doing stadiums. You know what I'm saying? Let's be clear. That's really it. But everybody else, no. I mean, at this point, I'm just gonna say The Weeknd is a bigger artist than Drake, and they just don't want to admit it. And it's sad to see that they can't just be honest about it. I mean, I guess Joe, because what Joe does is Joe is very good at argument or manipulating the conversation. What he'll do is he'll say something in the beginning, then he can revert back to. That's a very good way to argue with people. He'll say, we're not talking about this. He'll just establish guidelines in the conversation before you even get into it. So this way you can't even give your true opinion about something because he already established the guidelines in the conversation. It's like, oh, well, I'm not talking about this. I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about, but everything that he's establishing is the point that you want to make that makes him bigger. So you can't, you eliminating everything so you going into this argument, you eliminating everything that would support my argument just so you can support your own. I just don't understand it.
Ever.
In my life when she came here.
That's what I'm saying. That level of act, the label with they're in bed with you. They said Beyonce looking to make how many 300 some odd million off of this Renaissance shit.
Nicki Minaj made $200 million or high hundreds off her tour.
Nicki Minaj, respectfully, is not Beyonce level.
No,
That's what I'm saying. Once you get that global star.
I don't know if there's that many stars in the world bigger than Drake. And it be sounding like I'm caping for Drake.
Drake pop up over
like,
there
yo, that's
at
crazy.
MetLife.
Bro, stop it, bro. Stop it, bro. Stop, bro. Drake is big, but I think that a lot of y'all forget that there's other bigger artists than Drake. Let's just be clear here. Let's just be clear.
If you saying Kendrick Lamar could do a stadium tour, so could fucking Drake.
I'm saying Kendrick Lamar doing it. I already, y'all know where I stand. I say no rapper could do a solo stadium tour. Not one. I've been saying that for years. Every rapper that's trying to do a stadium tour, you need a pop act to attach to.
You said it.
I've been saying that. Kendrick had to go get SZA to do this tour. He can't do that by himself.
He didn't have to go get her. She was in the room already.
Well, to put that tour together, they know they needed SZA with it. There is not a rapper that can do a stadium tour dolo.
I don't know about that. I think Travis Scott could. Travis Scott probably could. And the reason why I believe a lot of rappers don't do stadiums tours by themselves because they don't. A lot of them never really tried it. I think Kendrick Lamar doing this stadium tour with SZA is going to be a testament of rappers that could do it. And we'll see what happens. But yeah, let's finish this out.
Period. Taylor Swift can do stadiums by herself. Beyonce can do stadiums by herself. These people can do these stadiums by themselves at that level.
I don't know if what you're saying is true. I think Kanye could probably do an arena tour by himself. I feel like we've had this talk.
Stadium.
I mean, that's what I meant.
When I say stadium tour, I'm not talking about 5 or 6 stadiums. I'm talking about a 30-city tour. I don't think Kanye can do that.
So let me ask you
He
this.
can do the listening session where I pop up in Atlanta and do a stadium here. I pop up in Chicago, do a stadium here. I pop up in LA, do a stadium here. That's one thing. I'm talking about a full-on tour.
I can name 20 cities where Kanye would sell out.
Andrew.
I think so.
Andrew.
I think if it's not being done in this, it's closing
something might be different.
If it's not,
I don't agree. I think Kanye. I mean, I agree with that part, but Drake now. But I think a lot of times we'll see how big artist is. But what are we arguing though? What are we arguing? Stadiums versus arenas? Come on, dog. Like, I don't know, but we're gonna end it there. Yeah, man. I think sometimes Joe Budden podcast, although a lot of their shows be pretty good, sometimes I feel like they be saying a bunch of anything just for an argument, and they don't really articulate their argument very well. They just give a surface level argument, and then they go off of how they feel. It's not like, okay, we're gonna stick to the facts of this. It's like, well, this is my opinion, so that's all that matters. It's like, well, wait a minute. So The Weeknd has more more. If you going off of just hits for Drake, okay, cool. But successfully, album wise, quality, down to streams, #1 streams, views, anything you want to talk about, The Weeknd wins that battle. Creativity, he wins that battle. It's like, what are we talking about? Like, some of y'all think y'all just like Drake. It's not even that y'all think he's better than anybody or whatever. Y'all just like him. And instead of y'all just being honest, be like, nah, I don't see it. The one boy, he was a little bit honest. It was Ice or Ish, whatever his name is. I can't remember them dudes' names, but he was a little bit honest. You know what I mean? But at the same time, like, come on, bro. You can't say Drake could do stadiums and then turn around, and he has never done it and say, well, that's subjective. Like, huh? He's never done it. Like, he's been in the game all this time, and you're telling me that he's never done a stage. Why is that? Like, why? Like, but then they'll keep moving the goalposts. Like, well, what's the ceiling? Like, come on, bro. You know what the ceiling is. All right, man. Thank y'all for joining me. See y'all. Peace. Bye.